we did, which, sounds, really simple, but it's never been simple. Stone is very unwieldy, so we don't really move. I mean, moving things is a lot of effort. What we actually did is, shut down the presses and cleaned.
Wow.
And that is literally translated into over a 10% efficiency.
Wow, that's
just cleaning.
huge.
That's all it is, just cleaning and sorting and labeling. I mean, these are things that, well-run factories do anyway. Like when I go out of the country and I look at, those huge European and Italian, or even, I told you I was just in Spain, they have the luxury of space that we don't have because we're right in the center of the city. So every inch of what we use is very valuable to us. So what we get in being really well located, we kind of lose sometimes in the luxury of space. So that cleaning effort was really important. And so everything now is where we think it should be. From a material point of view, one of the significant things we did is we've invested in machinery. So we had a linear polisher that we got rid of. It was there for 15, 20 years. And we ended up getting a fastback polishing machine, and it polishes, really basic straight ease polish, but you'll be amazed how important that is. And the proof is that, it doesn't work the whole day because it's so fast that, it only works for about 3 hours a day, unlike the rest of us who work much longer than that. So that was good. The other thing we did is we've invested in tech. Everything now is about efficiency. The good thing about, things like Zoom, I've heard a lot of the complaints, but the great thing about Zoom is, we save so much in time in traveling. People are getting more comfortable. We do all of our meetings, so we've increased all of our tech. We work on several platforms, so we want to make sure that we consolidate those platforms. We want to make sure that, not so much a CRM, because, our customer relations management is so personal because it's all, big GCs. It's not, the homeowner as such, so therefore, that's gotten improved, just our accounting systems. I mean, I think on every aspect, we looked at every single thing. And then the other thing we did is we opened up a private client division.
Oh, wow.
Which we've never had before. Well, actually, weirdly enough, we started with one and then we became commercial. And so now we're still commercial. It's just that we've had so much of demand, there's been a huge demand from, the residential divisions because they don't have enough fabricators, or if they do, because of supply chain issues or, unpredictable financial issues of smaller companies, they really want to deal with somebody that they know. So it's been a good year, from that point of view. It's been, a lot of things have changed.
So all these changes, has it happened in the last year or 2 years?
I would say in the last 2 years, in the last, it started, the basic things like cleaning started 2 years ago,
Right.
But everything else has just been gradual and it's still ongoing. We're still looking at programs that we can, do job walks with, which are easily translatable. Sometimes what happens is we collect so much of data. So we have the data,
Right.
but we don't know where to dump the data, or we dump the data and we don't know how to extract the data. So that's something that we've been, really doing. And it's translated in several ways. A, our bottom line. B, our capacity to get more work. And C, just the well-being and I would say comfort levels of our own employees. Our teams have gotten really tight. I don't know what they say behind my back, but apparently they like coming to work, so, and they're awesome. They've really risen to the occasion. So I think, I think on every level, it's really helped.
That's really great. Because the one thing now that I'm out and about a little more now, and I just attended one of our Stone Summits and I was at the trade shows, in Vegas the last couple of months, sitting in on some forums, you hear about work culture is becoming a big thing. It's hard to find employees, and the good ones you have, you want to retain. So I think it is important. It's sounding more and more fabricators like yourself, business owners are putting some stock into that. And I think that's very important.
Well, for us, it's always been important, but I'll be honest, in the day-to-day doing your work, you kind of, you're okay. But today we're looking at things that in a much more focused way, because we're also hearing about supply chain ethics, about modern slavery issues. And, you start, you keep hearing those terms and you go, wait, we're always looking outward, but how about looking inward? And, we've always had a good group of people. Sometimes I think you have to be a little bit crazy to work in the stone business. Because now they're just better. you know, they love, we all love what we do. We have very open discussions, not just about work. I find that we're spending a lot of time at work. Even if we're working remotely, then we're disconnected, right? So that's the other, either we're disconnected from work, or we are spending a lot of time together. So I think we've loosened our grip on being 100% businesslike, and trying to get personal, whether it's by, staff weekly meetings where we're having lunch and everyone gets to choose what they want and we all get to make fun of it or criticize it, or just doing team events together. So it's been a good,
I think that's great. And I think that's a great business model for people to follow. And I think it's going to be more and more as we go on. From what I'm hearing, it sounds like people are going to start to implement it if they haven't already. So that is
I
important.
think we all, as small business owners, I'm going to generalize, broad sweeping generalization. We kind of look down on work-life balance words. We're like, yeah, maybe Google can do that or somebody else can do that, but it's incredibly important. It's incredibly important to, I tell people now, listen, we're not going to be your first family. You have a family, but we want to be the second family.
Right. No, I think that's great. How many employees do you have now?
Not counting my installers, we have 24 employees.
Okay.
If you count our installers, our core team is 12, but that can expand to about 50 depending on the job that we're doing. So we're still keeping it small, and I really have no intention of making us too big. I still want to be, in that space where, I do personally also have that life work balance.
That's important, definitely. Now, when you talked about the cleaning, I assume like 2 years ago, maybe it came about because of the pandemic, but also, just in general, like you said, to help to learn to be more efficient. It's probably a big undertaking, I'm sure. It seemed overwhelming, I'm sure. So for anybody else who's looking, what were the first steps you took to begin something like that?
Well, the first steps we did is we actually did a blueprint of our own warehouse, and we decided, where our racking system should be. And the first thing we did is actually invest in newer racking systems that were adjustable.
Okay.
We had racking systems that were, pretty, in one place. And we did that. And, so we, instead of just moving things around, we first planned. And then we redid all of our, maintenance. So make sure that when we're moving all these things around, that something didn't break, in between. So we kind of took care of that. We also simultaneously, our front area, which is our viewing areas and our, offices, we re-drywalled, we just went through an entire phase of just doing it, and we're working through it at the same time, so that was kind of a little bit stressful.
I'm sure.
But throughout our time, we've got some really good relationships with general contractors. We got a lot of help, so I would say for anyone who's starting it, the old adage applies. It's more expensive than you think, but the other second thing applies too, and that is, you have to invest in your place. Every penny that you spend doesn't have to have an immediate return, because I can tell you, we're experiencing the return. If you want to break it down to dollars and cents, we are literally have the capacity to do more work, and we have increased our, I would say in the last 2 years, we've increased our capacity by about 30%, and we want to increase our capacity totally, starting from 0.02. If I take, 0.0 is 2 years ago, I've always wanted to increase by 50%, and we're already at 30. So it does translate into dollars and cents. I think a fabricator will understand this. Instead of spending like an hour looking for that one slab, this makes it much better.
So great. It's worth it in the end.
It's completely worth it.
Yes. Yeah. So then after you cleaned, you realized, you wanted to invest in some machinery. What's the thought process there when you think about what you need or what machinery you want? I don't know if you went with a manufacturer that you already have some of their equipment. I believe the Fastback is part.
We've actually kind of mixed up, there's different ways of thinking of that, right? Some people like to stick with one brand, and some people kind of mix it up. And I'll be honest, we do mix it up a little bit, We obviously, we love, Park Industries, Prussiani, Breton. I mean, these are all the Northwood guys. I mean, they're all wonderful. But we've had to do a little bit of mixing, so we like to look at what we need. Like right now, my next investment is in another cutting machine, because that polishing machine is so fast that now I need to feed it. Right? So, but again, our biggest challenge has always been we have a very small footprint. We're in the middle of the city of Chicago, which is amazing, but it means that our footprint is really small. So we try to be as efficient as possible.
It definitely sounds like you are. And
No.
always thinking, I'm sure, next step ahead.
Yes.
So when it comes to your changes in efficiency, is there anything else you'd like to share with us?
I think we pretty much covered everything. I just think that the greatest benefits that we've seen is that people just love coming here and they love visiting us. Now we have people who just come here and visit us, or people who come. In fact, right now, I have somebody who wants to have an event here,
That's great.
and so they're having an event here. Now, obviously, we're not parlaying that into any business. This is just our own, internal, people want to do that. But now we would never have been able to do that a while ago. Whereas now, you come in here and we have photographs all over. We have lots of art and photographs on all the walls, because, we see a lot of pictures of our installations, and it really makes me feel really good, because we've invested so much in photography over the last few years. When people actually go to each picture and they start looking at it, first they're really thrilled. They're like, oh my God, that's our job, but then after that, they start looking and you can see that they're getting inspired by different ways of looking. So I think those are the bonuses that I did not expect.
I think that's great. So next time I'm in Chicago, I'll have to stop by.
I hope so. I hope you will.
Great. Well,
Always welcome.
thank you. And I thank you for taking the time to talk with me, Sandya.
Well, thank you very much, Jennifer. Really appreciate it, as always.
Thank you.